Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Homestand TV. I'm your host, Celine Chamarki, alongside my co-host, Justin Pooney. The Toronto Maple Leafs were on the ice in Detroit last night. Sloppy play. They lost 4-1. It was not a good game. Couldn't generate any scoring chances. Ilya Samsonov made only 19 saves in net. It wasn't a good look. The Leafs couldn't even generate a goal on the power play, and you do not expect that coming from one of the top power play units.
Yeah, well, they are missing Austin Matthews. He's missed another game because of injury, but I want to talk about the Leafs being pretty inconsistent since, around Christmas time, right? Seems like they win a game, they lose a game, they win 2 games, and they lose back-to-back games. Again, they had such a hot start. A hot stretch of play from like the middle of November to like the middle of December where they were like the best team in the NHL. And now they've kind of hit that up and down thing, right? Which tends to happen. It's like the middle of the season. I think the biggest thing is they got to make sure Austin Matthews gets back healthy. And the thing is, he's day-to-day and stuff like that, but I wouldn't rush him back at all. They've built up a lead. If you look at the standings, right, they're probably not going to catch Boston for the rest of the season. They're kind of locked into that second spot in the Atlantic Division. I would just say, Austin Matthews, take as much time. Make sure you're 110%, right? Don't force anything back. Get healthy. Let the defense get healthy still, right? But the goaltending too. The goaltending has been very inconsistent as well. Now, they played well last weekend, right? But then they've kind of looked, again, Wednesday night against Nashville was a very low-scoring game, and they played well. But that, to me, is now rearing its ugly head. Can the Leafs goaltending figure itself out and really just stabilize everything? Because, as we said before, you did an interview the other day, right?
Yep.
And the thing with the main topic was, this team has been so good in the regular season. What matters is the playoffs. And we've been saying that ever since the beginning of the season. Ever since the last couple years we've been saying that, right? All that matters is the playoffs, and the Toronto Maple Leafs need to make sure they're healthy, their goaltending is secured by playoff time.
Yeah, they can totally allow Austin Matthews to kind of rest and get better. And the thing that I keep hearing is it might be his wrist again.
Which is critical because what's Austin Matthews' bread and butter?
And you would think too, like Austin Matthews only put up 20 goals. And to Austin Matthews, that's nothing. But like to an average Joe, that's a lot of goals too. So you have to really think about that.
And I think if you ask Leafs fans truthfully, right, would they rather take Austin Matthews, win another Hart Trophy, a Rocket Richard Trophy, or score a whole bunch of goals in April in the playoffs when it matters the most?
When it matters the most.
There we go.
When it
Thank you.
most.
So yeah, just let Austin Matthews get healthy. You're in that point in the season where you're going to go through ups and downs. The focus is kind of waning, all right? The Leafs have been traveling a lot. They've been
they have.
Going from home to Philly, back home, then back to
Boston.
Detroit, now out to Detroit. To Detroit, then Boston.
Yep.
I'm kind of jumbled all over the place with my geography there. But yeah, the Leafs will be fine. The All-Star break is coming up.
Yeah.
Get to the All-Star break, and then you'll see them hopefully ramp it up again because then they'll get a little break and you see the guys start
Now, before we start chatting about the All-Star break, I kind of want to just mention one thing. Bobby McMahon, he thought he scored his first NHL goal against the Detroit Red Wings. And funny enough, I just have to say, I was trying to find that bet to place because I had a feeling he was.
I don't think Bobby McCann goals were on.
There was nothing. There was nothing. But I had a feeling like, hey, I would make so much money if I bet on this kid, and he scored, but it was disallowed because there was a kicking motion on the play. But I mean, if he actually got that, but that just means next game he'll score.
It's gonna be tough in Boston.
He'll get the redemption.
It's gonna be tough.
One goal. Now, speaking about the All-Star, the Leafs, they might be the new host of the NHL All-Star Games next season, according to Nick Kypreos. No, this is really interesting. I'm excited for it. I would totally go to this game to see it. Yeah, what about you? What do you think?
If you invite me, I'll go.
We'll go has each other's dates?
Sure. We'll set that in stone. I'll put it in my calendar. But no, it'll be cool to see the All-Star Game hasn't been in Canada since, I think, Montreal back in like 2009, right? And the NHL time, let's take it to these markets where the fan bases are not that big, Florida, and there's in St. Louis and stuff like that. But I really think the All-Star Game should come back to Canada.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like I'd love to see the All-Star Game in Toronto, although it would just be a big corporate event.
Of course.
Right? Of course.
Leaf games are all corporate events.
But I think anything like that, like having Canadian fans be able to, go see the biggest and brightest stars all the time. Because it's been a while, right?
Yeah.
With COVID and all that and injuries, sometimes Canadians don't get to see their favorite player play against their team, right? Unless you Connor McDavid, which then everybody sees him up close and personal.
Then you got to also think too how expensive the tickets are.
Oh yeah,
when you have like a superstar like that.
Good thing you're taking me because I don't have to pay for the ticket.
Exactly. Or we can just ask our work to send us.
That's true. Yeah. Ask the bosses, right?
Yeah.
But it'll be cool. Like I think the last time the Leafs hosted the All-Star Game was in 2000,
Yep.
so it's been what 24 years next year. And as much as it pains me to say this, Toronto's like the second or third biggest hockey market in the world. So
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to be here. It will sell out. It will be amazing. Fans will be everywhere. And it will be awesome, right? So I think that would be a really cool experience. But what I do want to see in the All-Star Game, because back in 2000 they had the internationals versus North America in the All-Star Game.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Wouldn't that be
Yes,
something? Wouldn't
that
that
would
be
be.
something, right? I
I
think that would be
remember that.
really cool to bring back for the NHL. Have it like a 3-on-3 thing, or still keep the 3-on-3 thing, but international or like Europe or whatever, and face off like that.
That would
North
be
America.
awesome.
That'd be awesome.
You should hit up Gary Bettman and tell him.
I definitely will.
Well, it's going to be really exciting to see. Hopefully everything comes through and it happens next season. But PK Subban, okay, let's talk about
Yeah.
this. This kind of warmed all of our hearts.
It was beautiful.
It really was. So the Montreal Canadiens honored PK Subban, who played 7 seasons in Montreal.
Wow,
have
what
to
a
say it.
French
Oh,
accent that was.
My name is Celine, so I
Whoop.
have to,
Wow.
you know? Anyways, it was such a touching tribute. PK, he's just an awesome guy all around. And what was so touching the most was this. Let's do it.
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. That was
There we
beautiful,
go.
right? That was beautiful. I
It
don't know if we
was.
did it as good as PK and Carey
No,
did,
who
but that was
can?
pretty good. You know what? I was thinking about when I was watching that last night, and I'm not a Montreal Canadian fan. Right?
I'm definitely
I'm not a Montreal Canadian fan. Now, look, I
either.
respect Montreal. I think the Montreal Canadiens are the most historic franchise
Yeah.
in NHL history. But people forget how great PK Subban was with the Montreal Canadiens. He won the Norris Trophy
Yep.
with the Montreal Canadiens, right? How many countless times did he score clutch goals in the playoffs, right? Against Boston, right? I think it was beautiful to see. And he had such an impact in the community with the Montreal Children's Hospital. And to see Carey Price come out with his all-black suit. I know you probably love the cowboy hat too. That probably put a...
I love PK style. I
Yeah.
actually love it.
So just to see those two out there and just see the ovation, because remember when PK, we were talking about it before, like we remember when PK Subban first came in the league,
Yeah.
right? And I think when you see PK and just the reception he got from the fans, because a lot of times he was a polarizing figure in Montreal. There's always reports about teammates didn't like him, there's this and that, but the fans loved PK Subban, and quite frankly, I think as time goes on, we have to remember just how great of a defenseman and a player PK Subban was during his peak. It wasn't the longest peak, but he was a very prominent NHL player for the time of the Montreal Canadiens.
Solid hockey player and very much a humanitarian too.
And an electric personality.
Yeah. Oh God.
Electric personality.
Electric, and his style,
Yeah,
A1 style.
absolutely.
We got to give it to him. Well, that's all from us today on the Homestand TV. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Celine Markey, alongside my co-host Justin Pooney. Have a great weekend.